FC Barcelona have just played in the Copa del Rey and beaten Real Vallecano, and some of you guys might have been expecting a match review. But honestly, for me, it doesn't really matter, except for the final. If we make it, it's a Copa del Rey, which is pretty much just Barca B playing, except for the final. What does matter, though, was what was released on Monday by FC Barcelona, because they released their annual financial report for 2020, which included, of course, debts, which was regarded to be around 400 million euros, an extraordinary amount. That's insane, and I believed that sum, and I thought it was a lot. I thought maybe if we were lucky, it could be a bit less, maybe 200 or something around those lines. And some even said 700 million euros, which I thought was staggering and didn't even bother talking about it here on the channel because I thought it was false. Lo and behold, it was, but not in a good way. They were only about 500 million euros off. And I'm not saying Barca are 200 million euros in debt. I'm saying that FC Barcelona have confirmed they are 1.2 billion euros in debt. And yes, I didn't add extra zeros. 1.2 billion. Even when Bartomeu resigned, we were still paying the price. And not only that, but 730 million of that is short-term debt. And honestly, how was this even allowed to happen? That is more than the GDP of some countries. That's insane. And in this report, it was confirmed that Barcelona have a horrific wage bill. And I'm not saying that lightly. It's horrific. Because what I mean by that is that Barcelona have said that 74% of the club's income goes to paying the players, which explains why Suarez, Vidal, and Rakitic left for pretty much free when they were on high wages, and why the Arthur Pjanic deal was even made. As the accounts say, it saved us 186 million euros. I have no idea how, but now we know why the deal was made, and if that's the truth, I don't think it's a bad deal at all. Not as bad as I thought it was at the beginning. We also owe 126 million euros to other clubs from transfers. And I think with Bartomeu, we all heard the term variables a lot when it came to transfers. Such as Coutinho. Just remember, when Coutinho signed, the sum was 120 million plus variables. And they never specified the amount the variables were. With Ousmane Dembele, they did the same thing. They would have done it with Griezmann, but it was a release clause, so they could not do that. Well, now it's time to pay up. And it will cost us a lot. 126 million euros to be exact. And a lot of these players are busts or aren't even at the team anymore. I mean, if you want, I can say some names. We owe 29 million to Liverpool for Philippe Coutinho. At this point, I'm not even sure if he's worth that for a transfer, let alone just variables. And we also owe 10 million euros for Griezmann to Atletico Madrid. We owe 10 million euros for Malcolm to Bordeaux in France, of course. 16 million for Frankie de Jong to Ajax in the Netherlands. 5 million euros for Pjanic to Juventus. 2 million for Arturo Vidal to Bayern Munich, who isn't even at the club anymore. He's already at Inter. And so many more that are all small sums of money for a club of Barcelona size, of course. I'm not saying 2 million is a small sum of money. It's a ridiculous amount. But for a club of Barcelona size, getting that ridiculous amount of income, it's very little. And all that, with, of course, some other smaller fees, it adds up to 126 million euros. Because of one man in particular, and of course his name is Bartomeu. A lot of you guys I know are new to the channel, and I don't expect many of you to have watched my old videos. But before, I used to bash Bartomeu on the daily. And this is why. And I'll continue to do it if this keeps happening, as he needs to be ashamed to have come into a club who had everything to win, the best players in the world, to having a team who struggled to beat Rayo Vallecano in the Copa del Rey. How was this even a thing? And Messi does not even want to be here because of you. And the club is 1.2 billion in debt while you're at home relaxing, watching TV, smiling, looking at all this happen, with there being a serious chance of very bad things happening to the club. And it's already started over a couple years back because of you. And also, shame on Carlos Tusquets. Many of you guys might not even know who he is. He is a temporary president per se, and he is an economist who has 40 years of experience in the financial sector, but this is still happening. And of course, he couldn't do much as he isn't really our president. So why didn't he call elections in November or at the start of December for Fonts or Laporta to come in and start with their plan? But now elections will happen all the way until March 7th if we are lucky, and even if it isn't postponed again due to this horrible virus. And the reason why this is also baffling is that why is this even a problem in the first place? We are even making 100 million euro transfers and ignoring our principles with La Masia, of course. What has happened to it? I mean, honestly, I've talked about this so many times, and I'm not completely saying that 100 million euro transfers are bad. They can be good. We've seen that with Neymar and Suarez, but we've also seen with Griezmann, Coutinho, and Dembele how bad it has been with over 400 million euros spent on just those 3 players. And what do we have to show for it? Under 200 goals. On the other hand, with La Masia, we have Ansu Fati, Ricky Puig, Elias Moriba, Ronald Araujo, and they're all really talented players that come from our academy, La Masia. And not even saying those cheap transfers, of course, like Pedri, who cost us 5 million and is one of our best midfielders, or even De Jong, who didn't come cheap, but it's a smart signing for the future, and we need to start doing this. If you're going to pay big money, do it like players for Frankie De Jong. Let's start getting rid of the dead wood and trusting in our youth. Stay tuned tomorrow for my video on the ideal lineup I've created as part 2 of this video. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment when the video is out. I thank you all for watching. Visca el Barça.
Broken alone, I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found.